All right, we are live. Hello and welcome to a new leadership playbook. I'm Keshawn Hughes and I'm joined by,
Natalie Jobity.
and we are very excited, as we always are. Since we've been doing this series to talk to you today, we pull these topics from our own experiences, our experience with our clients, and just personal stories that we share with each other. And we're welcoming you into the conversation with us today.
Absolutely.
Yes, today we're going to talk about the high achiever's quest for perfection. So, perfectionism is the topic. It's a double edged sword, as Natalie put in our description for our talk today. And I felt that. I was like, I feel that double edge personally, professionally, and I'm always aware of it. But before we dive even deeper into this topic, Natalie, would you like to share something about yourself, introduce yourself, your business, and how you support others?
Sure, Keshawn. So, yes, everyone, I'm the Brilliance Unveiler. I call myself that because it was revealed to me that that's one of my gifts is unveiling the brilliance in women. So, my company is called The Unveiled Way, and that's its own thing in itself that I'm building out. But as the Brilliance Unveiler, I help women like literally become the persona and the leader they're designed to be. I can say divinely designed to be so that they can make their undeniable impact unapologetically, which is a very important word for me, to
That.
do so confidently and unapologetically in their arena that it's like she did the thing, like so I
Yes.
want every woman possible to have that fulfillment of I did the thing, whatever the thing is. And that is my heartbeat. That is my mission and vision. And yeah, so I work with high achieving. It's not with intentional, but that's who I tend to attract.
Mhm,
High
mhm.
achieving, impact minded women, executives and founders who are looking to level up and to just because they know that there's a call, there's a desire, there's a longing, a yearning that has not been met yet in their journey, the professional journey, and they may be aware that their leadership posture needs to evolve, their inner being needs to grow to get to that level of their next. And so yes, I that's me. That's been my own personal journey, and that is what I help walk women through, and a few good men.
And if you welcome to the party. Yes. I'm Keshawn Hughes. I founded Neuro-Savvy Leadership, and my organization helps to build inclusive leaders and inclusive workforces. Well, we work with individuals, leaders at every level, middle managers to C-level executives who also want to have an impact and they want to feel and see the impact, not only externally, but internally. So we help support leaders in their evolution from the inside out. We help support organizations in their evolution from the inside out. And it's talking about and its purpose to bring people together so they all feel seen, heard, valued. We are each divinely designed, as Natalie says. And so that comes out in the workplace. So that's where we find ourselves in workplaces that are aligned with that vision. They know the power of it. They know that it results in better performance, better customer and client experiences, and healthier and happier people at work. That's
Amen.
my goal, to help people feel healthier and happier at work. And that goal comes from a personal place for me as well, because as a mom, as a wife, as a community member, service oriented leader myself, I have once not felt healthy and happy in my work, in my life, even though my life, I believe, is beautiful and it feels like a blessing. But at times in my life and in my leadership journey, I did not feel that way, it did not
Mhm.
resonate with me in that way. And so that's what fueled this and sparked this, I would say, insight in me to go down the path of understanding leadership from a neuroscience perspective, from a brain based perspective, because I wanted something practical and tangible where I could see the results play out before me as I
Mhm.
tried on different practices. And now I share it with groups and people, and it's the best work ever. It's led me to meet Natalie, and it's led us to this new leadership playbook series. So it's
Love it. Love
rewarding.
it. So
Thank
I think we should share. So we kind of put it in the description, but Kashawn and I call ourselves recovering high
you.
achievers for a reason,
We do. There's a reason.
because we both have had that journey a lot of women do, quite honestly. Again, I say I tend to meet a lot of, and work with a lot of high achieving women. I believe that that's also because there's a lot of us out here.
There are.
You know, and we're brilliant and talented and all the good stuff, but some things get in our way, and one of that is that double-edged sword of perfectionism. So let's go there,
Let's
Keshawn.
talk about what that
What is
is.
double-edged sword?
There are pros and cons. That's when I think of double-edged swords, I think of pros and cons. What's my pros and cons list? Pros list is that being a high achiever, I set high goals for myself and I reach them. I get results. That's motivating, not only to me, but to others.
Yeah.
There's actually a neuroscience tie. Whenever we are close to reaching a goal, we get a release of dopamine, which is our feel good neurochemical. And so, as I'm approaching reaching a goal that I've set for myself, very high standards that I've set for myself, I feel physiologically high. It feels good, great, right? So there's that. There's that. There's the physical sense. There's the personal achievement orientation that can provide great results for myself and others. But then the con, another brain region that lights up with perfectionism is the amygdala. And that's the part of our brain that is our emotional center. It tells us we're in trouble, we're in distress. We need to halt. We need to fight, flight, or freeze.
Mm.
And so we're like moving towards a goal, but are we doing so in a healthy way? If our amygdala is firing off and saying, hey, slow down. Hey, we need rest. Hey, get help, right?
Yeah.
So there's the tension, there's the double-edged sword. So after achieving a goal, do I even get to savor it? Do I even get to sit in it in appreciation of it? Do I celebrate it? Is it celebrated with others? Or do I just move on to the next thing, the next high? So it's like an addictive quality there that can be extremely unhealthy and unsatisfactory over time.
It's a very reactive way to approach life and work. So we're reacting, we're responding, but we're not being, right? And
Right.
so a lot of what Keshawn and I talk about in this series is the importance of being overdoing. And I
Yes.
think high achievers, they are that's one of the big things that we were, or are still
Yes.
sometimes a little bit,
Yes.
so caught up in the doing and the performing and the results that
Yes.
we forget the healthier evolved state of being, which is to be present, to be centered, to be grounded, to know, and to have that agency that doesn't come from hustling, but comes from
No.
being, right?
Mhm.
Comes from being. I want to read something from my book. It's Your Time,
Please
Keshawn.
do, please. Yes, I would love to hear. Yes.
I,
Yes.
I had a whole thing on this, and it's like I could read the whole chapter, but we don't have time.
Okay.
But so here's the thing. So I'm just going in the middle where I'm saying. So we're talking about women who are highly gifted and competent, yet their unrealistic expectations for their performance derail their success over time. This perfectionistic behavior often involves thoughts such as, I must perform at 100% all the time, or as one of my clients put it, I expect to be perfect in my work because anything less than that is not good enough. I mean, that literally was what she said. So I want to go on look quickly. So here's one of the double-edged sword, one of the edges of the sword that can be not a good thing. So when you're in that perfectionist state of being, what we don't always realize is the way we are leading others comes from that place too. So I want to make this point. So when you're in that high perfectionistic state and you're leading others, you tend to become that insufferable boss who is hypercritical, never satisfied, and has issues delegating because you think you're the only one who can get it perfect and right. That is a real truth. Like, so again, it's back to who we be is how we show up and how others experience us. If we are in that perfectionistic mindset and way of operating, we are also posturing that as a leader. And guess what? That ends up being not a healthy leaderly way to be, because
Yes.
your team, your subordinates are going to be experiencing your overly high standards that are
Absolutely.
probably not realistically to meet.
Oh my gosh. That once again, my yes. So good. I'm thinking of so many things right now, but I'll just start with I love when you say who we be as a perfectionist. I'd be lonely. Okay. That's what came up for me. I was like, I'd be
That's
so
good.
lonely
Yeah.
because at the top of that mountaintop, I'll put quotations around it because, oh my gosh, is it really a height that we want to achieve.
Right.
Because when we look around, we're the only ones there. There's no one else who can do it as good as I can. I remember there was a meme or something going around on social media years ago. Get just let me do it. It's something like it was something, it was targeted towards Black women. And I think it said, if you want anything done right, get a Black woman to do it. And I remember at that time I said, yeah, get me to do it. I'll take it. I'll take it on. I'll make it happen. If you want something done well, look for me. But what kind of labor, what kind of workhorse mentality, what kind of individualistic, lonely platform am I building for myself when I have that state of mind and I go about my leadership in that way, my work, my life in that way?
Yeah, I mean, everything you just said is like also like,
yeah,
because you don't realize. Oh, and let's just talk about Black women and women of color for a second. And I wrote this in my book, and it's true. Women of color have a tendency to be more perfectionistic because of the systemic biases and all the things we have to overcome to get where we are. It usually involved hustling, grinding, overdoing for people to see, oh my God, she's actually talented and good and brilliant, right? And that's just the way it is in reality. So those of us who have high goals, high dreams, that's how we got to where we got. And we don't realize at some point, in the beginning, it actually does serve us, I believe.
It absolutely does.
That's the double-edged sword of it.
Yes.
So it actually does serve us, and when I say us, I mean all of us, Black and white and everybody.
Everybody. Yes.
It serves us until there's a point, a reckoning point when we have to look at ourselves and go, is this worth it? Is this who I want to be? And is this giving me the goals I actually aspire to right now for where I am? Because I think in all of the journeys, we have that humbling moment, that like come to Jesus moment, I would call it, where it's like, I'm not fulfilled, I'm not happy, I'm not content. What do I need to change in me to get me to still get, because I still have my dreams and goals, right?
Yes.
I don't think I'll never not have dreams and goals because God just wired me to like always have, I have to have a purpose, you know?
That's right.
And I think for a lot of high achievers, that's maybe the core of it, that we want to achieve something. We have this desire, this longing to make an impact even, right? So it comes from I think for a lot of us, it does come from a service-oriented place. But if we're not evolved in our being, the experience is hustle, grind, overdue, and then you come across as this like, again, like what you were saying, like hard-edged, unempathetic person who is just like, it's not good enough, and just your bar is so high that nobody can meet it. So whoever you're leading or whoever you around, they're intimidated or like just like not wanting to be around you, and you end up doing it all alone. And then you're like on that top of the mountain, and you're like, I got here, but what was it?
My goodness, that's it. You are preaching to me. I'm just like taking this all in. I'm soaking this all in because, as we said, I am in recovery from perfectionism, from high achievement orientation, as we describe in this playbook, right? There are ways to achieve. That's what we come here to talk about. Healthier ways to achieve, healthier ways to be and to engage. And I think that's so important. As I was listening to you, a couple of things that I wrote that came back to my memory as I was thinking about this talk today, about how perfectionism can be a trauma response. It's a response to something. It's a learned behavior. It's a habituated way of being. I just saw a post on Instagram a couple of days ago that I liked about perfectionism being a way that people learn to feel loved. So it's like we're wanting to feel love. We want to feel that sense of reward,
validation. That's my wound. That's my wound. I'm going to admit it. That is absolutely my wound.
Yes, same. And for me, I feel like we are so impressionable at our early childhood development stages. All through life, we're impressionable. People, we're tribal as human beings. We need each other. We learn from each other. We pick up things, whether we know it or not, consciously and subconsciously. I picked up these behaviors. I was raised by a perfectionist, right? My father, he's in the military. So there are certain ways of being and doing and orienting yourself in the world. And his lives depended on it. Okay.
Right.
Serving, right? But
Survival. And that's back to
it's
like
survival.
when
Yes.
you're in the military, it literally is more of survival instinct mode.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, it is. And I can remember several seasons ago, I owned an event planning company. And as I was putting my company together, putting my marketing together and my messaging, I called myself a perfectionist. I strove to provide a perfect event and wedding experience for my clients. And that was something I held with pride. And I look back at her and I'm like, oh, poor baby, you just had oh, she just had no idea. But I
The
thought it was
compassion.
an honor for me because I was going to do it perfectly. If you want a perfect event, come to me. But through that experience, I felt a distance. I felt distance. So you talk about that. That's what I wrote down as you were talking. It puts distance between you and others
Others.
because of the things that you said. Because it could be intimidation. It's just off-putting.
It's too much. It's almost too high of an expectation.
It is. It's not realistic. It's not.
And it's not realistic unless you want to kill yourself doing it or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And who really wants that?
Right.
But here's a good point we need to make to a pivot or a reframe of it, right? Because I think this is what so one of my top strengths is maximizer. It's my number 2.
Oh, I love hearing that.
And maximizer is all about doing things in excellence, doing things to their best ability, making sure that everybody's seen and appreciated and is liking, enjoying the experience. I have a workshop I'm going to be hosting later on today, and I'm always like, are they all going, like my mind is going into everybody's experience.
Yes.
Not mine as the host, but the people who are attending, are they going to be comfortable? Do we have it set up? Like I'm always like to the detail, to the point where it's like almost like a over vigilance to the people's experience.
Yes.
But here's the point I want to make. My maximizer has served, and I think it's also very tied to my perfectionist self. But when I'm healthier, it's about my maximizing. And my maximizing is about, I believe this. This is one of my values, that things being done in excellence.
Yes.
Malcolm X, I had when I was in New York, I had in my apartment, I had this poster about Malcolm X, and I think it said something like believe in excellence, something like that. And I was like, that was on my wall because it was like, it really was what I it's who I am. It's how I operate. I don't believe in mediocre. I don't believe in average. So I think there's a kind of maybe sometimes fine. It could feel like a fine line between this pursuit of excellence and then perfectionism, but they're actually different things.
I'm so glad you made a distinction, and I'm so glad you used that language. They are different. The first coach I ever hired told me that perfection is unrealistic. It's not even tied to reality.
Right.
It's a made up concept.
It's an idealism.
Absolutely. So can we talk about that, Natalie? What are the difference between excellence, performing in excellence, and performing in perfectionism?
Yeah. I'll give like examples from me. So who I am today. So let me go. So in the book, I talk about how when I was in college, this was such a real example of perfectionism.
Yes.
Literally every exam I took, I would panic. I would study my butt off, but I would be like panic because in my mind, only getting an A was acceptable. Anything less was not good enough. So it's like, I'd be there like sweating my bullets and be like, oh my God. And I'll say the words like, I don't want to fail. I think I'm going to fail. And I'll get my results and I'll get an A. And after a while, people around me who would hear me be like, look at me like, they thought I was lying or they thought I was making it up. And I'm like, they didn't realize every single time. And when I get a B, it felt like failure. So that was me in perfectionism mode.
Yes, what a great example. Yes.
Now, the me I am today, the woman I've grown and evolved to be, understands that sometimes good enough is good enough, that part. And also that there are times when we're going to fail at whatever it is, with a deliverable, a result, an idea, and that failure isn't failure. It's like failure is, it can be seen as, this is what I write in the book too, learning, growing, understanding, having data. So the word failure doesn't have to mean, oh my God, I'm down in the dumps, I crash and burn, and it's all done and dead and fire blew it up. It doesn't have to connotate that. It can connotate, I learned something I didn't know. Oh
Wow.
my gosh, now I know how to do it better. Okay, that was not a good idea.
Mhm.
It's about so embracing the fact that I am not seeking to win from that part too. I
Mm.
am seeking to do the best that is available to me in that moment. And
Mhm.
and sometimes the best that's available to me or anybody in a particular moment is average.
Yes.
I'm okay with being average when I need to be average. Let
Yes.
me be clear. I am about excellence all day. Still, it will
Mhm.
never go away. That is me.
Yes.
But the evolved version of me knows that one, everything doesn't have to be excellent.
Right.
That's the
Oh,
point. Because when we're
yes.
in that high, we think everything has to be the, oh
It's so
my God,
exhausting. It's so exhausting.
everything in our life, in our work does not have to be a 120% level. I
Mhm.
tell this to my clients. I have women I work with, and I literally say, do you realize that what you deliver is literally like two people in one? I'll say that to them. I'll be like, do you not see that what the effort you're putting in is literally like you're getting paid for one person, but you're giving two people
That's it.
productivity? Do
Yes.
you see how you're undervaluing
Mhm.
yourself by
Mhm.
not recognizing that you're overgiving and overdoing, and to what result? Because you're over going over the top, they can't even receive it half the time, all
Right.
of the things. So
Yes.
it's like, take a step back, roll back, honey,
Mhm.
roll back,
Mhm.
and give what's required. Give it in excellence, give
Yes.
your best, but don't over.
I love that. I love that so much because I'm thinking of come down to earth. So it's like
Yes,
come down to earth, come down to the earth where we all are. Ground yourself. So I've been
humble.
taking breaths as listening to you through this experience. I'm taking breaths. I'm reminding myself to breathe, to ground myself. And that's something I feel like can be a tip for people. So to ground yourself, first of all, you have to have the self-awareness. I want you to have an
Yeah.
understanding and to be able to discern excellence from perfectionism, to be able to prioritize your behaviors and actions according to that. So, what behaviors and actions or results, deliverables, can be received and shared and given in a, I would say a less than excellent way. They just need to be
A
delivered.
less than perfectionistic way.
Yes. Yes. Just having, I think each person has to understand and be able to discern the level of delivery and result to be able to distinguish what they're going to give for certain different outcomes. So you
Right.
know what that is for you. For you, this will be like a B plus or C. But I would say that's where having other people's opinions come into play will be so
Yes.
important because you can't make these decisions on your own. Like I said, perfectionism is a singular, lonely existence. So, a way to, an antidote to that is to bring people into the equation, to get people that you trust, to have them look at your results or what you're about to deliver, get their opinion on it. To them, it might be an A, to use a C, but have that self awareness, have that in
Yes.
mind, and deliver it, send it, ship it,
It's,
release it, right?
so here's the other double edged. So until all those things you're saying are so good, because and I me just anchor it again and underscore it again.
Hmm.
Yes, because on our mind it's average, but to the outside view it's perfect. It's
Yes.
great. It's excellent.
Yes.
So that understanding that the way my organic mode of operating is actually high deliverable
That's
quality, to
right.
have that awareness of oneself
Hmm.
is a game changer, because now you know what I organically deliver is great. I don't have to put in
Yes.
extra effort, right? So there's that part. The
Right.
other double part of the double-edged sword, I'm getting goosebumps,
Mm.
of did I just lose my point? Of perfectionism. I just lost the point.
It'll come back.
Yeah, just lost it. But
Hmm. Yes. So to deliver, and I think it's just important having that self awareness that you said, having that self
yeah.
awareness, being able to discern and distinguish that is extremely important. It's going to come back. It's going to come
I
back.
know, I'm like, it's annoying the heck out of me right now. It's like I had it and then it, because
Yes.
thoughts
Yes.
are going around in my mind.
Hmm.
Um, but I
Hmm.
guess I guess the other point I made about, and I think we want to touch on this a little bit.
Yes.
And it's back to what we talked about the wound.
Yeah.
And I believe that a
Mhm.
lot of our perfectionistic tendencies are there because and the high achieving mode of operating is there because we're thinking that that's what makes us valuable.
Yes.
That's what makes us worthy. And
Yes.
that was my journey. And it was a very hard journey to detach myself from results,
Yes.
from winning, from quote
Mm,
unquote success, because when I didn't have those things, I felt worthless. And so I had
absolutely.
to get up from that place of my
Yeah.
worth is defined by my achievement to a place of I am worthy as I am,
Yes.
despite or in addition to my achievements or non-achievements. Like we have to believe in our value in ourselves first. The
First.
achievements are icing on the cake. And if
Absolutely.
we're looking for our achievements to give us the value, we're on a slippery, slippery slope that does not end well.
Absolutely. Yes. In my own self-awareness journeys, personal development journey, I've recognized those factors of self-esteem and self-worth that were not present. Here's how I knew my self-worth was not where it needed to be.
Mm.
I had no understanding of the concept. It's like
Mm.
I never thought of self. It never even came up. And when I began to think of self, the narratives in my head framed it as selfishness because that's what I heard about.
Mm.
If you when you think of self, if you think of self, if you voice a need, you are selfish. Think about others.
Yeah.
And so it's a building process. So to understand and to embody worthiness, self worth for yourself, and then to begin to express that, to expect that, to set boundaries around it, to have
Yeah.
conversations and be in community with others who are reciprocal. That is so important. It is a journey and it is layered. It is
Yeah.
absolutely layered. So yes, perfectionism. I found my value in delivering perfect results, perfect events, perfect whatever, you know. However, there was something in me. Oh, I knew what I was going to say. When we talk about the being versus the doing, it's so important to have a level of emotional intelligence because
Oh.
once that comes into play,
Mhm.
that's your body's way, your mind's way of saying, hey, there's some disconnect here. The disconnect typically starts with you. It is you. There's something in you that's disconnected. And
Yeah.
becoming aware of your emotional state of mind and being can help you to fill in the gaps and fill in the blanks of,
Yeah.
oh, why am I being perfectionistic about this result, this outcome, and how can I get away from that? Typically getting away from it comes with just honoring your own state of emotions, your emotional state of being.
Well, here's what's interesting. I feel like even the awareness to say, why am I being perfectionistic in this
Yes.
situation? We
Ooh.
may not even realize we're being perfectionistic in a
No.
given situation. But I
Mhm.
think the point is back to knowing emotional intelligence and knowing
Yes.
who you are and understanding how your body responds and disconnecting
Mm.
values and things like that
Yes.
makes you know that, wait, something is off here.
Something is off.
I achieved the goal, but why don't I feel,
Yes.
why
That's
did
such
it not
a good
last?
question.
Yeah, why did it not? Why did the high not last? Why am I feeling down in the dumps again? Or why am I feeling like just not like I can't celebrate this?
Yes.
And that's where a cue that because something about what you delivered or did or what have you was not aligned with who you are and who you be, back to who you be.
Yes.
And so when we begin to get more in tune to, okay, okay, I do too much? You know, did I am I was I too stressed out? Did I grind my way through that? Was that
Mhm.
inauthentic for me to try to get
Good
this
question.
client?
Great
You know,
question.
there's so many things that we do in our quest for perfection that are misaligned with
Yeah.
who we are. And when we come to understand what those misalignments are, then we
Yeah.
can start to do the things to change that behavior of striving to be perfect and
Yeah.
feeling like the only way to get ahead and to have success in life is by the hustle and grind mentality.
That's it.
I think we had a whole podcast episode on grace over grind.
We did. It was good. I would put that in the notes to return to that and to watch that because yes, in my thinking for today's topic, I was honoring the fact that I allow myself and others grace now. That's how I know. That's a clue that I've made a turn away from perfectionism, is that I give myself grace, and I give it to others.
Yeah.
I speak it out, and I,
Yeah.
want it in return. And
Yeah.
that's okay. It has
And that,
nothing to do with the level of excellence I perform. And actually, it amplifies the excellence, because we both are feeling seen, valued, supported, and we're in a comfortable state as we're doing. That's what I want to be. Like, what state am I in as I'm doing? That can be another clue to me. Am I operating in a realm of perfectionism, or one in which I'm working towards excellence, or just working towards an outcome that will meet the need? Sometimes we just need to meet the need.
here's
Okay.
the other, oh gosh, you're saying a lot, but what I want to say with that is sometimes it's about, I feel like when we admit the flaw in whatever we did, let's say like old days, I would not send an email with a typo. You, Natalie, typos? Oh my God, if it's with my phone, typos galore, and I do not care. I literally don't even care. I mean, and if it's professional, of course I care, but
Yes,
I'm
yes,
saying
yes.
like it's like what is required. If I'm sending a text to a friend, do I care that it's a typo? Hella
Right,
no. Hella
right.
no. If it's a client, of course I'm going to do a little extra due diligence to make sure there's no
Yes.
typo. But the point here is that even when there's a flaw in a delivery or something, that I'm human enough to say, I'm human, I make mistakes, or I got that wrong.
Yes.
That's just transparency,
Oh,
Keshawn.
good.
Is also a way to connect us deep with other people, because
It,
then we being real. Like, oh
yes.
wow, I screwed up. I'm sorry. Whereas perfectionistic mode would try to fix it and correct it and not admit it was like, oh my God, I
Mhm.
messed up, or I forgot to do this. Oh crap, whatever. I'm a
Yes.
human. Give myself grace. You give me
Oh,
grace. I give you
so good.
grace. And we
That's
all we all win. We all win in that scenario.
yes. That's it. That's so good. As you can tell, we are very passionate about this. We have come a long way. I'm gonna pat myself. We have come a long way when it comes to our journey. Recognizing, first of all, recognizing our perfectionism, being able to discern its value, the way it feels inside and for others. These are, I would say, high emotional intelligent quotient behaviors and ways of operating.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, particularly in the workplace. It sometimes really astounds me working with people who I call, you're at a big age. I would expect you to know these things.
Mm,
And yet you still seek to control, which
mhm.
perfectionism is about control. You seek to hoard, to not information share. These come out. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter your age on the calendar.
No.
These are aspects of yourself you must work at. You must work to become self-aware. You must work to discern and to categorize, and to then make guesses on, okay, in this situation, this will be new for me. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try it and see how it goes. And I'm going to give myself grace and then hopefully receive it from others.
Yeah, I mean, just to tie it up here, I think,
Yeah.
we're about leaders, and the posture of leaders in this new leadership playbook series. And so as a leader, your investment in your personal and professional growth is really, really important, because if you're observing and seeing that there are gaps or misalignments or interactions where it's not going well, you've got to look at yourself and go,
You've got it.
what do I need to grow and change or evolve or be to make this not happen again in the future? So I feel like it's back to the leadership journey of the best leaders we can be is based on who we are. And if we grow and invest in our evolution and our posture and our growth and awareness and emotional intelligence and all the things that I believe are requirements for leadership.
Absolutely.
EQ, emotional intelligence, honestly, is in definitely my top four of,
Absolutely.
of requirements for any leader.
Anyway,
Because again,
everything.
as I always say, leading is about people.
It
It's
is.
about being, and it's about people. And if you don't have high EQ, you're gonna hurt people. Yeah.
Yes.
So this audience, you all who are listening to us right now, who are leaders or aspire to be leaders, know that the best you can be as a leader is the best you can be as a being. and
Wow.
and and that even things like perfectionism and high achieving, Keshawn and I are telling the story, we have been there, done that, and there's a way to grow out of that, and there's a way to still acknowledge that there's still parts of ourselves that have that, but as an evolved being and people who have invested in our growth and development, we don't have to like carry the cloak and the burden of all of that anymore.
We don't. We don't. That's it. It's so good. I just want to share a couple of clues for people to just practical ways to be able to identify perfectionism in yourself or possibly others, because that's important as well. So you can know how to navigate successfully. If you have chronic stress and anxiety about a deliverable, about an environment, a conversation, something that you are doing, that could be a clue to check and see where your level of perfectionism about that thing is. If you're procrastinating, oh my goodness, I work with so many high achievers who procrastinate. It almost feels like paralysis. They are stuck. They are stuck. If you have seasons of stuckness, if you have a pattern of just being stuck, of doing, but still being in the same place, doing, but still being in the same place in your life, those could be clues. And one other one is impaired relationships, because it not only affects you, but it affects those around you, those you are in relationship with. If you find yourself alone a lot on a mountaintop with no one to share your successes with, those might be clues that you have perfectionism at play. And it can all be rewired through support, through coaching, through counseling, through having conversations like this one, talking to trusted professionals and people who are on their personal development journeys too. Seeking feedback is a great way to come out of that trap, that double-edged sword of perfectionism, because we said at some point it is going to affect you. It's got a limit. It's only happened for so long before you are typically redirected to change or die. Either die to your ego, or physically parts of you may
you burn out and you can't perform the same way because you just went too far. And that is my caution for a lot of women who continue to believe that they have to be high achieving to get the result, is that at what point will you be ready to say, like, how far down do you have to go? How much do you have to lose to wake up and be like, I've got to change my mindset around this? You know what I mean? Like, if we keep going the way we're going, the cost gets higher and higher. And how much what price do you want to have to pay? You know, back to what is your well-being worth to you? You know, anyway, so many ways to look at this. And I think it's just really important to close on this point that, you know, we all have our flaws, we all have our growth edges. And I think it's, you know, I think a big thing I see a lot of times with a lot of the women I meet and women I work with is some of this stuff comes from low confidence, right? Low belief in oneself. And so that's something that I just put my quiz in the chat. I have a confidence quiz too and a leadership style quiz, because to see where you are in the confidence game and how your low confidence may be impacting you, making you show up as perfectionistic or as high achieving or as hustling, because you're trying so hard to prove your value. So at the end of the day, it's about our self-worth and value, our value in ourselves. And when that is strong and healthy, we don't have to do all this other stuff to get attention or to feel like we have to get attention.
So good. Oh my God. Yes. Speaking from personal experience, it's so liberating.
Yeah, it's freeing
to evolve out of perfectionism and allow your true self, authentic self to shine. It creates and resonates in a way that draws the best experiences to you, where it just takes away so much of that.
The load, the insecurity, the anxiety, all the things that I went through, but a lot of that was on me. I didn't know it at the time, but it was on me. I know we had time to go. We had 140.
Yes, we gotta go. So we're really passionate about this.
Yeah, we knew going in this we could talk. We said we can do a whole TED talk on this. We said, yes, and you can tell how we can just keep going and going, because there's so much to unpack here. But we are way beyond time. So everyone, thank you for showing up. Yes, you listen to the replay. We appreciate you listen to our thought leadership on these topics and our authentic stories about our own experience. Absolutely. And we invite you to our next series coming up in a couple of weeks. Yes. We'll have the topic ready for you. And thank you for just being present and being here.
Thank you so much. See you again soon. Bye.